You know,
I'm good.
well, everyone, this is Catherine Toon, and I am so honored to be on the Brother Henry and You show and be the host for today. And I have a guest that I have known for quite some time, totally love, has spoken into my life, been more of a blessing than he knows. I better not talk anymore because I might fall, so I'm not going to do that. But anyway, we have Bishop Jamie Englehart today, and he's with us to talk about his brand new book. I'm going to flash a copy of it so you know what it looks like. And I will say this, it's called, and I know it's backwards for you, Myths and Misconceptions. And so you need to get this book. Anyway, so Jamie, tell us a little bit about your background, just so for those of you who don't know Jamie, you need to get to know Jamie. So tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, Catherine and Henry. Appreciate this. It's an honor for me also. I am third generation, kind of classical Pentecostal preacher's kid on one side of the family, second generation on the other. My wife and I, we've been married 28 years. She traveled with me the first 21 years of our ministry, and now every once in a while, because she's mainly around the grandbaby. And then we have two amazing children, an awesome son-in-law, an amazing granddaughter who's 4 now, who is really the joy of our life, to say the least. She's absolutely amazing. And so we, like I said, traveled now 28 years. We church planted. I oversee a network of churches of about 40 preachers or so and different ministries around the country and in other countries. And so that kind of, when people ask me what I do for a living, I just tell them I troubleshoot for nonprofit corporations.
Wow. And so, Jamie, now you wrote your book. Tell us a little bit about your book, why you felt like you wanted to write a book.
Well, it just kind of happened, not on purpose, to be honest with you. I mean, I started putting myths and mistranslations that were all misconceptions about God that I've studied over the last, over 26 years, because I started writing this on Facebook about 1.5 years or so ago. And by the time I got to 30 of them, I kept having people inbox me saying, can we get these all together? And it dawned on me I was writing a book. And so that it just kind of happened out of Facebook, to be honest with you. I mean, Facebook forced me to kind of finally write a book. And so now I've got a couple other ones in the works that I'm already working on and stuff. Of course, it's kind of that season of life. But yeah, that's really where it came from. And I wish I could say it was completely on purpose, but it just kind of happened.
It happened. It was completely on purpose, according to God, but you kind of fell on it. So let's hear it for Facebook. So, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just looking at my little cheat sheet here. So, it's interesting when you read the book, and let me say this, I got the book on Kindle, and it was so good I got a paperback as well. So I had to double duty because sometimes I can, research a little better with the paper version. So It is chock full. So I noticed that when you were writing your myths and misconceptions, that you kind of basically unpacked what the myth and misconception is and sort of led a little further, but you really don't push your particular brand or take on it that much. So I was just wondering if that was on purpose and what your feelings were around that, why you did it that way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, one of the things I put in the beginning of the book, in the introduction, is that I did not do these to be, the truth is all 70 could be their own book. Oh. I mean, they're all, they're things that people have questioned and wondered about. Yeah, questioned and wondered about for years, but I mainly did it to stir up thought, to stir up questions, and to get people to just think about what they've always been taught, and to realize that there's a lot of stuff we've been taught that is complete myth, that either isn't in the scripture at all, or was a total mistranslation, or translators added stuff to it according to their own bias. And so, again, a lot of it just to really get people to hopefully be good Bereans and study for themselves. Now, I just finished doing the Audible book that we'll have out sometime in the next month, and I did the Audible with commentary. Oh. So I read each one, and then I give 5 minutes kind of additional information on each one, kind of maybe more along the line of where I stand on it. And so I've got a bunch of people waiting for that one.
Oh, I'm waiting for that too. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, that one will be fun.
That is awesome. So what is your favorite myth to unravel? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I've the thing that really ran me away from kind of God in church was eschatology. I mean, I was raised terrified. Always afraid I'd miss the rapture, afraid that I was going to have my head chopped off. I mean, I was raised in a church system that were just very much into that. And so for me, my favorite myth is probably that, unraveling, really unraveling that the righteous will never leave the planet. I mean, because there's literally, there's no verses that are even close to clear anywhere in the Bible that talk about the righteous leaving. And there's whole belief systems that are based on the righteous leaving the planet, whether it's 3 years or 7 years or whatever. And yet I put in there, I think, over 18 verses that show the righteous are never removed. Now I believe where people get it from is Thessalonians, that will be caught up. Harpazo is the Greek word, but that's not caught away. It's just caught up. It's a seizing. It's a snatching. That I believe is the final return of Christ, what we would traditionally call the resurrection. And but we're not leaving. He's coming. Right. And we always get this idea that we leave for a while because it says, so shall we ever be with the Lord. But we're assuming then that means we go to heaven, when that's actually when heaven is coming to earth. And so even if that verse gives that picture, theology teaches us and proper hermeneutics, you normally don't build whole doctrines on one verse. And there literally is not anything else. And I've challenged all kinds of people that teach this, that are in the prophecy clubs, and I've never had anybody be able to show me more than just Thessalonians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have that whole thing, where suddenly people are gone. They're like, oh my goodness, did I miss the rapture? And it's sad. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I used to come home from elementary school, and my parents weren't at the house, and I'd get afraid, and then I'd run next door to the church. And if they weren't there, then I was terrified, thinking I'd missed it. Because, at 6, I was such a horrible little heathen. So I mean, it's crazy, this stuff that instills in people. And I mean, your main message being the love of God, that love removes fear. But if love removes fear, fear also then can remove love. And when you're raised in a fear-based understanding, you have a hard time receiving love and have a hard time giving love, because it's all fear-based.
Wow. So, and that kind of is a segue kind of for my next question. What myth or misconception do you feel is most toxic to the church? Would you say the whole rapture thing, or is there another one you want to pick out that is kind of toxic, that you really feel has really hamstrung the church?
Yeah, for me, and it was the one I would say was most toxic to me growing up. And that was Matthew chapter 7, that God will, I can't remember which myth it is, but it says God will say to some Christians someday, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you. And when I was growing up, we would have evangelists come in, and if they wanted a full altar at the close of the service, they would go to that passage, and they'd say, some of you standing here, you can serve God faithfully, do miracles, signs and wonders, heal the sick, raise the dead. But at the end of your life, you're going to be like Moses. And because you strike the rock rather than speak the rock, you don't pass go, don't collect $200, you're going to be thrown straight to hell. And so I remember just giving up about 13 years old and saying, well, man, I can do all of this, and at the end of my life, God still kicks me to the curb, even though he said he'd never leave me nor forsake me. And so it wasn't until it wasn't until I understood the proper context of that, which Jesus was speaking to Jews who were under the law and were justified by their works. I mean, we're not justified by our works. We're justified by Jesus's work. And there were no Christians yet, because the new covenant had not been inaugurated. So Jesus is not speaking to any Christians. He's speaking to Jews who are under the law. He's also talking about false prophets in its context, because in their culture, a true prophet healed the sick, raised the dead, cast out devils, and did all those things. Just like the sons of Sceva, they tried to cast out demons in the name of Jesus that Paul preaches. And the demons said, Jesus we know, Paul we know.
But who?
But who are you? In other words, there was no relationship with the Messiah. But Jesus is never going to tell us on this side of the cross, who are his sons and daughters and children, I never knew you. Now, it would be a different discussion if he would have said, you never knew me.
Right.
Because then it would have put it in our court that we never got to know God. But that's not what it says. He said, I'll say, I never knew you. And we know we never have to worry about that. Right. But I mean, that one, I've seen a lot of people, live their Christian life, like holding a little flower petal. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. I'm in the kingdom. I just got kicked out. And then we've produced really eternal insecurity in people. And so you can't really grow and mature as a son if you're not convinced of your Father's love. If you're not convinced that nothing can snatch you from his hands, then you're never going to be able to fully mature, because how can you grow in faith when faith is translated trust, confidence, and belief? How can I be confident that, at the end of my life, he won't kick me to the curb in reading that verse if I don't really understand how to translate it? To me, that one, it leaves people completely thinking that at any time God will throw them away. And we know our heavenly Abba is not that way.
Right. That's heartbreaking. That just makes me sad just to hear you talk about it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So if people want to get your book, where do they go? Or your new audiobook? I'm so excited.
Well, all of these will be the audiobook within the next month, but everything right now, you can go either to Amazon. Also on Amazon, you can get the paperback. You can also get the Kindle, or they can go directly to my website, which is himconnect, CONNECT.net, and just click on store. And there is an ebook version that is kind of a pre-launch version, but it's got all the information on it. It's only like $6.99 to do it that way. We kind of gave a special price for people that wanted the pre-launch ebook. And so all of those are on there. Or when I come to town, come hear me, and I'll give a signed copy. When I'm out there in May, you have to remember to bring your copy. I'll make sure to sign it for you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so looking forward to that. And then if people do want to book you for a speaking engagement, where do they go?
All that right on the website also.
Okay.
We've got all the information on there. There's a whole contact thing where they can send me an email, connect with me. Or nowadays, Facebook. I have people inbox me invitations, and Facebook's become a pretty amazing tool when it comes to kind of what we do.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that's just under Jamie Englehart or Bishop Jamie Englehart.
Yeah, just either my personal page, or I have the same Jamie Englehart is also a public figure page. I just have two different shirts on.
Gotcha. There you go. Awesome. Well, Jamie, I could sit and listen to you talk all day long, but we kind of need to keep it in the length that it was originally intended. Thank you so much for sharing, and just thank you so much for who you are for the body and me personally. I think you're amazing, and I love you, and I vote for Jamie Englehart. Go get his book. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to be backwards, but here, Myths and Mistranslations by Jamie Englehart, and you will love it, and share it and tell your friends. Anyway, thank you so much for joining, Jamie, and I look forward to seeing you in May.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, and thank Henry also. God bless you.
Bless you. Bye-bye.